Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video, second video of the day. So today, on this video, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be basically showing you guys how to read aeronautical charts. I'm going to be showing you guys how to read a couple different charts and where you could find these charts. So the couple different charts, I'm going to show you how to read ground charts, approach charts, departure charts, ILS charts, and just all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the different, 3 different websites, actually 4 different websites where you can find charts. So one of them, which is a paid subscription, you could go to navigraph.com. Link will be in the description. Link will be in the description for all these. So basically what this is it has FMS data. So basically you could keep your FMS up to date. And so if you get a nav data out of date error on your FMC, that's basically, this will fix that. And then you also have charts. So this is a paid subscription. I think it's around €7 a month for both of them. So it's actually a really good price for it. So yeah, go to that and get that. This is what I use when I fly. I use Navigraph. So what we do is we go to airports and then filter by airport code. I'm just going to do the flight that we planned in the SimBrief tutorial, so KLAX or Los Angeles. That's put in here, and then just go ahead and click on that, and it shows up with a ton of different charts. Before I forget, actually, we're going to go ahead and go over these other websites where you could get charts. So there's navigraph.com, and then there's SkyVector, Air Charts, and then there's AirNav. I'm going to show you guys how to find the charts really quick on all of these. So on Charts Cloud, what you do is you just go to airports, search in the ICAO code, and then put it in here, and it's here. And I'm going to show you guys how to navigate this in a minute. On SkyVector, let's see if I could talk. So if it looks like this or somewhat like this and you didn't see this thing on the top left, click this button where it says flight plan, and then where it says departure or destination, doesn't matter, go ahead and type in KLAX or whatever your departure airport is, and then just click enter or return. And basically, don't click any button, just highlight your mouse over this and you have all these other charts. So the airport diagram, ILS charts, departure procedures, arrival procedures, etc. So those are all the charts, and basically that's how you navigate this. Yeah, so this is a really handy thing that I like to use sometimes. Other than SkyVector, I'm gonna be doing this tutorial in Navigraph, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this. All right, so we have another one called Air Charts, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up here on the top right where it says Chart Search and type in KLAX. Okay, it's not working for some reason. That really doesn't make sense. What you could do, I guess, is just scroll down, find your airport. We're doing Los Angeles, so click right there, Los Angeles. Nope, it doesn't want to work. Okay, I don't really use air charts. I've just heard of it, and I know that it works sometimes. So if you want to use air charts, you could use air charts. Then we have airnav.com, and you basically just type in the identifier name or city. So I'm going to type in KLAX, and it gives you this. And if you scroll down, you have all the charts right here. So you have all the stars, all the instrument approach procedures, departure procedures, and then I think on the top is the ground chart over here on the right. It's right here. So if we click download PDF, and then it is, once it loads, it's going to be right here. Yep. Okay, so that's AirNav. But I'm going to be doing this tutorial on Navigraph just because I love Navigraph and it's an amazing subscription service. So we're going to start on the ground, and then we're going to go to departure, and then we're going to move to San Francisco, and I'm going to show you the approach SIDS and how to read that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to taxi. There's a ton of different charts that you could use, taxi routes, then there's airport information, which is the airport chart, and there's a ton of different stuff. The only thing we care about really is the airport info, and then parking bays and coordinates or parking bays. Basically, Parking bays is exactly what it sounds like. It tells you where the gates are, and what the numbers are for where they are, and what the terminal looks like. And then the airport info is basically the ground chart with all the taxiways and stuff like that. So I'm gonna basically just go over this chart really quick and just show you the different information that is on this chart, and how it can help you. So if we go up here to the top left, Los Angeles clearance is on 120.35, ground 121.4, 121.65, or 121.75, tower 133.9 or 120.95, all that good stuff. All your frequencies are going to be right there. It says be set, so it has all this information, stuff that you can't do, can and cannot do. And then if we look actually on the chart, we have 6 left and then 6 right, and 7 left and 7 right, and basically this thing right below where it has this 6 left and 6 right, that's the heading that the runway is. So the runway heading for 6 left is 71 degrees, or 71 degrees. And same thing on the other side, it's gonna say the same thing, 251, so it's 251 degrees is the heading. And then right here in the middle of the runway, on every single runway, above every single runway, there's a 4-digit number or 5-digit number depending on how long the runway is. So this shows you how long the runway is. So in this case, 6 left and 24 right is 8,926 feet, or 2,721 meters, and so on for the rest of the runways. So the longest runway here would be 25 right and 7 left at 12,923 feet. Okay, so other than that, ATC non-viz areas, so basically where the control tower, which is right here, cannot see you, everywhere where it's like slashed or whatever. Really, the only other thing this chart will help you out with is the fact that you see the taxiway. So Charlie is this taxiway, for example. Bravo is this taxiway. Tango is here. Sierra is here. So that kind of thing. That basically tells you that. And then also tells you this is the blast pad. Elevation is 94 feet. Blast pad, etc. So it just tells you all that stuff. And it tells you the international terminal is here. Cargo is here. FBO, Singapore, Korean Airlines, Japan Airlines, FedEx, Air Canada, Northwest, Cal, I don't know what that is, Lufthansa, or sorry, yeah, that is Lufthansa, Delta, and Air France. Not all airports, air charts have basically where the cargo, and what airline is at what cargo area. But other than that, that's all these ground charts will show you. So what I'm going to show you guys now is I'm going to show you a SID. With the SIDs, for example, with the flight that we did, we planned the summer 1 departure. So we're going to scroll down here, look for the summer 1 departure, summer 1 RNAV DEP, or departure. So that's what we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and enter that in, and we're going to look at this, and I'm going to show you what this SID basically is and what it is, and how to read it. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you what's on this SID and how to read it. So starting at the top here, SoCal departure shows you the different frequencies for the departure frequencies. Airport elevation is at 128 feet. Transition level is flight level 180. Transition altitude is 18,000 feet. Radar required, and it tells you these transitions. You're required to have DME, DME/IRU, or GPS. RNAV 1, turbojet aircraft only. D&T and FICI transitions are GPS only. And then we come down here to the actual chart and like basically where it takes us. So for example, let's just say we were taking off 25 right, which is right here going this direction. So the heading is 251 after departure, and then it wants us to climb to 640 feet, and then HIPPR at or below 3,000 feet, on a heading, in this case from 25 right. We're going to be on a heading of 252 degrees to EVOS, and that distance is 2.1 miles from HIPPR to EVOS. And then from EVOS to McGee, it's 6.4 miles in a heading 252. And then from McGee to DARC, it's going to be heading 258, and 10.2 miles. And then from dark to summer, it's 9.2 miles and a heading of 260. And then it also says EVOS at or below 5,000 feet, dark at or below 12,000 feet. Summer doesn't have any altitude restrictions. And then if we keep going, let's just say we took the stoked transition here. So we're gonna I'm just gonna show you guys up to stoked. So in this case, from summer to Olaf, it's gonna be heading 290 and it's 10 miles. And then if you look right here, it says 8,000. So that means we need to be above 8,000 feet to clear the terrain. If we are below 8,000 feet, then we're gonna run into the terrain. So that's basically just safety precautions. Be above 8,000 feet by here. And then if we keep going from Olaf to Risen, it's 29.6 miles. We need to be at 12,000 feet to clear the terrain. And it goes to Risen, and it's a heading of 312. From Risen to Splint, we're going to be on a heading of 303. It's 58 miles and no lower than 12,000 feet. And then at Splint, if we need to, there's going to be a published hold. So if we're told to hold, we'd hold at Splint. Basically, it's a 10 nautical mile hold for turns. And so the first heading is 303, and then you turn to heading 123, and then continue turn to 303. Just continue that for however long you need to. And from Splint to Stoked, you're going to be heading 305, no lower than 12,000 feet, and it's 32.3 miles. And so basically what this summer one dot stoked, that's basically showing what it will look like in your flight plan. And Stoked is basically where it leads to. So in Adjust, that's how you read these flight plans. So if you basically, just a brief overview is 290 and then the degree logo or symbol, that's the heading that it's going to be from the waypoint you're leaving to the waypoint you're going to. If there's an altitude, and you'll know it's an altitude if it's 8,000, 12,000, 3,000. If it's like 1,000 number, that's how you know if it's an altitude. That's basically the altitude that you cannot be below. But let's say, for example, you saw an altitude that said 10,000 A, and then it said 15,000 B. So 10,000 A stands for at or above, and B stands for below. So that means you need to be at or above 10,000 feet, but no higher than 15,000 feet. So that's what that would mean, but you usually only see those on STARS, or Standard Terminal Arrival Procedures, and we're going to get into that in a minute. So that's basically how you read this. If we continue over here, it tells us what to do. So from runway 25 right, climb heading 251 to 640 feet, then climb direct to Docker at or below 3,000 feet. Then on track 252 degrees from Docker to cross EVOS at or below 5,000 feet, then on track 252 to McGee, then on track 258 to cross Dark at or below 12,000 feet, then on track 260 to Summer. Top altitude is flight level 230 for this procedure. So unless they gave you a initial altitude, which in my case when I flew this flight, ATC gave me a top altitude of 5,000 feet. Basically, if they don't tell you, then your initial altitude is flight level 230. So that's basically how you read a standard instrument departure procedure or a departure procedure now. With that, we're going to go ahead and we're done with everything from taxi to SID. So we're going to go back and we're going to type in KSFO, San Francisco. We're going to go to San Francisco and look at the star and then the approach. And then we're also going to look at taxi again so I could show you guys how that's going to help us on the arrival. So for this, we're going to go to star. On the video that I made, how to fly the PMDG 737, we flew the Surfer 2 RNAV arrival. I know in the SimBrief tutorial we planned the WAVs 1, but I'm going to show you guys how to fly the Surfer 2 RNAV arrival just because it's going to help you guys out a little bit more when you watch the video that is going to come out. This video is coming out on Friday. It's going to come out Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, January 27th. So we're basically going to look at this. We're going to start at the top, and then we actually are going to have to move down to the bottom to start because the airport is right here, and so it goes from the bottom to the top because it goes south to north. So in this case, ATIS is 113.7, 115.8, or 118.5. Airport elevation is 13 feet. Altimeter outset is in inches, so that depends. If you're in Canada, then it might be, I don't remember, I think it's millibars. So millibars would be 1013, inches would be 29902. Transition level is flight level 180, and then it basically just tells you everything you need. And then it tells you this is Surfer 2 RNAV arrival. Surfer.surfer2 is what it's going to look like because there's no transition from Surfer for the Surfer 2 arrival, and it's for runways 28 left and runway 28 left and 28 right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move down here, and we're going to look at routing. Basically, this shows from Surfer on track 314 to Nurley, then on track 313 to WABS, from WABS on track 333 to Epic, then on track 329 to Eddy, then on track 329 to Swells, then on track 329 to Menlo. Expect assigned instrument approach. So that basically just is going to tell you in words what this chart is going to have us do. So what we're going to do is we're going to start over here at Surfer. So we're going to come into Surfer at a heading of 314. And then if they want us to hold at Surfer, we can hold at Surfer. It's going to be a 10 nautical mile hold, meaning we're going to fly here. We're going to turn to heading 134. For 10 nautical miles, we're going to hold. And then we're going to turn for 10 miles, and then we're going to turn again. For 10 miles, we're going to fly straight, and then turn again, etc. until they tell us to continue our flight. So from Surfer to Nurley, heading 314 again. At Nurley, we need to be at 280 knots and flight level 200. And then from Nurley to WABS, heading 313, we need to be lower than flight level 190, but higher than 15,000 feet. And we need to be at 280 knots. And again, so down here it says 30.3. That's how far it is from Surfer to Nurley. And then Nurley to WABS is 17.5. And again, the hold 133 is what you're going to turn to hold. And continue turn back to 313, etc. And then from WABS to Epic, it's going to be heading 333, 12.9 miles. At 280 knots, lower than 15,000 feet, but no, at or below 15,000 feet, but at or above 10,000 feet, so no lower than 10,000 feet. From Epic to Eddy, we're going to fly heading 329er, 6,000 feet. We could be no lower than 6,000 feet. 23.6 miles at Eddy. We're going to be needing to be at 240 knots and 6,000 feet by Eddy. And then from Eddy to Swells, it's 2.6 miles, and we need to descend down to 4,700 feet by Swells. And then from Swells to Menlo, we need to be, it doesn't give us the heading just because it's 329 basically the entire time. From Swells to Menlo, Swells to Menlo is 6 miles. At Menlo, it's we need to be at 230 knots and 4,000 feet. And from there, that's basically how you read this chart. Yeah, so there's nothing else for here. So we're going to go ahead and move to the approach chart. So over here, if we go to approach, when I flew this on the sim and in the flight that you guys are going to be seeing, I flew the ILS for runway 28 left. So we're going to go ahead and choose ILS or LOC to runway 28 left. These other approaches for 28 left, so ILS runway 28 left, SA Cat 2. So Cat 2 is basically if weather is lower and you need more room on the minimums and stuff like that. So it's like, it's just basically more strict. And yeah, so then ILS primary runway 28 left, text approach basically just explains what you're going to be doing. ILS prime runway 28 left. It shows what this is, what this text was showing us. RNAV for 28 left, so non-ILS. Area navigation, and then RNAV primary runway 28 left, and it shows it in text, and then RNAV primary runway 28 left. I just use ILS or localizer for runway 28 left. It looks very confusing, and I agree, it looks really confusing, but if you break it down into different sections and you look at it and you understand what each section means and what each different thing means, it's going to make sense to you. So what we're going to do, again, we're going to start at the top. So it gives you the ATIS frequency, it gives you NorCal approach, and then it gives you tower frequency, and then gives you the ground frequency. What it also gives you is the localizer frequency, final approach course, glide slope at duet, which is basically when you intercept the glide slope, and then it gives you the ILS decision height and the airport elevation and the touchdown zone. So I'm going to go through these again and explain to you what it is. So the localizer frequency 109.55, basically on certain planes it automatically does it, but in this case on the 737 you have to manually put it in. So 109.55, we put that in and it basically will line us up with the runway. If we don't put it in, then we are going to be either left or right of the center line, and it's going to say we're on the center line, but we're actually not because we didn't put in the localizer frequency. So you have to put that in to line up on the runway. Final approach course is basically runway heading. It's what heading you're going to be flying when you are on final approach. You're going to be flying heading 284 all the way down to the runway. Glide slope at duet is basically 1,800 feet, which is when you're going to intercept the glide slope. So from here, DVEC to Ponk, you're going to be at 7,000 feet by DVEC, but at Ponk you need to descend down to 6,000 feet, and then to 5,000 and 4,000, 3,100, then down to 1,800, and at 1,800 in duet is where you intercept the glide path. So all these are going to be manually entering in just 1,000 feet difference and then 900 feet difference, but then here you descend down to 1,800, and then that's how that works. And then ILS or decision height 213 feet. That's basically telling you that when you're at 213 feet, you're going to decide if you need to go around or if you're going to land. The elevation is in parentheses next to it is how many feet above ground level. So 200 feet above ground level. So if you do the math, 200 plus 13 is 213 feet. So that's what that means. And then let's see. Basically this altimeter set is in inches, not millibars. Transition levels, flight level 180. Transition altitude is 18,000 feet. And then it tells you all this information that you need. It kind of doesn't really matter, but if you read it, DME required, that's a type of equipment that you have on board your plane. None of this it's really not that important. Basically it tells you the frequency for Oakland, just in case you have to go to Oakland, and it gives you radials from these different waypoints to Oakland, what the waypoint is. San Francisco gives you the frequency. I'm not 100% sure what that frequency is for. Sorry, that's the ILS, or that's the ATIS frequency. So if you need to get the ATIS, that's what frequency you would go to. So along with up here, it also gives us the ILS DME down here. So the ILS frequency is right here, and then the final approach fix or final approach course is right here. So that tells you right there. And then if we look right here, San Jose gives us the airport and the ATIS. Woodside, it gives us the airport and the ATIS. And it also gives us some elevation, just elevation warnings just in case we need it. So 500 feet is right here, 1,000 feet is this oranger one, this darkest one is 2,000 feet, etc. So okay, so if we are at Faith, let's just say we're at Faith. We're going to DVEC, heading 281, 7,000 feet, 4 miles to DVEC. DVEC to Ponk, again heading 284. We're on heading 284 now for final approach fix. So we go DVEC to Ponk, and then Ponk to Wetor to Rockme, Rockme to Heman, and then Heman to Duet, and then you intercept the glide slope, and then you go Duet to Nepik, and then Nepik to the runway. And then right here you see a little cell tower, 217 feet, and then 203 feet. That basically just tells you if you're going to be right there, which you're going to be flying over that, you need to be aware that there's something 200 feet above that. But other than that, that basically just shows you the flight path that you're going to be following and the waypoints that you're going to be following on the final approach. But what will happen is down here is where it tells you, and it shows you like what it would be looking like if you were on the side and seeing the altitude, and it shows you this. So what we do is DVEC to Ponk, I already explained this. So basically just continue your descent, and then you start your glide slope at 1,800 feet. And in the video, I'm going to show you how to intercept the glide path and intercept the localizer. It's basically just a button you push. It either says LOC or VOR LOC on the 737, and then it says GS. That basically does that. It tells you ground speed, what your ground speed should be or whatever. And then it tells you 4,000 feet for go-around altitude on San Francisco, radial 275 to Elim, which is a waypoint, and then 115.8 again is the ATIS frequency for San Francisco. And then this basically shows you where the PAPI lights are. So the PAPI lights aren't going to be right on the runway where they usually are. They're going to be a little bit behind the runway, or like right at the end of the runway. And then we continue to go down, straight in landing, runway 28 left. Gives you your ILS decision height again. So 213 feet. Ignore this one. This one doesn't matter. And then if you have localizer, if you only have localizer, so you only get aligned with the runway, but the glide slope for the runway is out. This would never happen in VATSIM just because it's a simulator, but in the real world, this might happen where the glide slope is out, so you have to fly it in by yourself by looking at the PAPI lights. Make sure you have 2 reds and 2 whites. If you have more whites than reds, then you're too high. If you have more reds than whites, then you're too low. Basically, this is going to be your decision height for that. In MDA, depends if you on your plane, there's a switch that says either MDA or DA, and basically that's what you would put in there. So if it says MDA, then switch it to MDA. If it says DA, then switch it to DA, and then put it in there. And then this doesn't matter anything down here. It probably does, but I don't use it, so I'm not going to say that you need it. And everything else is good. So missed approach requires a minimum climb of 325 feet per nautical mile to 2,100 feet to clear terrain. So other than that, that's basically how you read the final approach chart. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to taxi charts, and we're going to look at the airport info. And I'm basically going to show you how this can help you on your approach, setting up for approach, etc. So let's say, again, heading 284 for the runway, runway 28 left, heading is 284, so that's good. That's our final approach course. That's what we need to know, but you could also look at the approach charts for that. 11,381 feet, that's how long the runway is. That helps me decide how much auto brake, the power of auto brake that I'm going to need to use, and the basically power of reverse thrusters. So if I'm going to use auto reverse thrusters, full reverse thrusters, or what kind of reverse thrusters I'm going to use. Some pilots know, I honestly have no clue how fast the plane lands and stops. So basically, some pilots who are really professional know how fast they could stop the aircraft with whatever certain brakes they're going to be using and reverse thrusters. So they will be looking at this chart and they'll decide, okay, we're going to exit on Echo, or okay, we're going to exit on Tango, and then from there we're going to taxi here. I have no clue what the different types of auto brakes are and how fast it stops the plane, and I honestly don't really focus on what taxiway I'm exiting off of. So if you want to be realistic like that, then you totally can. By all means, do that. That's awesome. I would love to do that, but it's just not something I focus on. I really just exit off the runway whenever I can, and then when I get off the runway, I just call up to ground, or I just continue my taxi, and I'd say, hey, we're exit off 28 left, to the left, or whatever, request taxi to the terminal, something like that. So that's basically all I need to know, and then they'll give me taxi instructions. All right, taxi to the terminal via Bravo, or taxi to the terminal via Alpha, whatever. Another thing that would be helpful is right here, elevation is 13 feet at the end of the runway, so that kind of helps on the arrival, and again, frequencies. So other than that, you guys, I have no other things that I need to explain to you on how to read these charts. That's basically all there is to it. Might be a little confusing, and I know I was going a little bit fast. I have a lot of stuff I need to get done. I have finals tomorrow. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have questions, please leave it in the comments. I'd be glad to help you out. And yeah, so thanks guys. Go to the description. All the links for the different websites that I went to in here are going to be in the description. So go to that, check those out, and yeah, see you guys later. Peace out.